The Galaxy Council chamber was filled with laughter, cold and cruel laughter that echoed across the vast hall. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in their high seats, their eyes glowing in shades of red, green, and silver, all focused on one corner of the room where a small human delegation stood silently. The aliens had been playing recordings for the last hour, old images of human tanks rolling across deserts, fighter jets streaking across blue skies, and soldiers carrying rifles that spat fire and lead. The aliens mocked these images as if they were some kind of comedy show. "Look at them," hissed a scaled ambassador with a forked tongue. "Primitive sticks that throw metal. Is this what they call warfare?" Another delegate with shimmering insect wings clicked its mandibles in amusement. "My people would not even use such toys for hunting." Laughter erupted again, but the humans did not answer. They stood still in their plain uniforms, their faces calm, their eyes cold. The leader of the alien assembly raised his voice. "Humans, you dare call yourselves warriors, and yet this is what you bring. Crude machines that burn fuel and bend under pressure. Your species is unworthy of the stars." A hush fell over the chamber, waiting for a human reply, but the human admiral simply bowed his head slightly, his lips pressed together in silence. The aliens took this silence as fear. They mistook patience for weakness, and their laughter returned, louder than before. Behind the admiral, a young human officer clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. His heart burned with rage. He wanted to shout back, to reveal the truth. But the admiral's hand touched his shoulder lightly, a silent command to stay calm. The officer remembered the words he had been told before entering the council. "They will mock us. They will call us weak. Let them. Their ignorance will be their downfall." The meeting dragged on, and one by one, alien speakers stood and demanded that humanity submit to the Empire's protection. They claimed humans could not defend themselves. They insisted that Earth surrender its fleets. The admiral's eyes scanned the hall. He saw arrogance. He saw centuries of pride from races that believed they had mastered every secret of war. He knew they had no idea what humanity had built in silence. Then came the final insult. A giant alien with armor-like skin rose from his seat. His booming voice shook the chamber. "Humans, if you wish to prove your worth, bring your fleets to our borders. Let us test your strength, or crawl back to your dying world and hide." The council erupted in roars of approval, wings beating, claws clashing, teeth bared. They believed they had broken the humans. But the admiral's calm voice finally cut through the chaos, low and steady. "We will come." The hall fell silent. Even the loudest aliens stopped. The humans turned and walked out without another word, leaving confusion behind. Outside the chamber, the young officer finally whispered, "Admiral, why did you agree? Their fleets outnumber us. Their weapons." The admiral stopped him with a glance, his eyes sharp as steel. "Their weapons follow the laws they believe cannot be broken. Ours do not." The officer shivered. He had trained in the academies. He had seen fragments of the new weapons, but he still could not understand. How could a cannon bend physics? How could a missile twist the very rules of the universe? The admiral walked forward, his boots echoing against the polished floor. "The galaxy has mocked us for too long. They call us primitive. Let them laugh. But when our fleets arrive, their laughter will turn into silence." As the human delegation entered their transport, distant stars glittered in the sky. To the aliens, those lights were as symbols of dominance, but to humans, they were reminders of something greater. Earth had been underestimated since the first day of contact. Humans had been called fragile, reckless, even suicidal, and yet humanity survived every war, every plague, every disaster. Now, they carried weapons born from secrets hidden deep underground. Weapons not shown, not tested before alien eyes. Weapons that would make the stars themselves tremble. The admiral sat quietly inside the ship, staring out at the dark void. He whispered to himself, not for his crew, but for history. "They think we are still chained to their laws. They will learn soon that Terrans write their own." The engines roared to life, and the human transport drifted away from the council world, a small, fragile vessel compared to the mighty alien dreadnoughts orbiting above. But inside that fragile shell rested a truth the galaxy was not ready to face, a truth that would change everything. The human transport ship slipped back into hyperspace, leaving the council world behind. Silence filled the cabin, broken only by the hum of the engines. The young officer still looked restless. his mind heavy with the memory of alien laughter. He finally spoke. "Admiral, they want a challenge, but what if the Council gathers every fleet? What if they come with millions of ships?" The Admiral's voice was steady, almost calm. "Then we will show them what millions of ships mean against one weapon that bends reality." The officer swallowed. He had seen glimpses of classified files, strange diagrams, simulations that did not make sense, engines that created gravity wells in empty space, cannons that fired projectiles faster than light itself, weapons that should not exist, and yet they did, far across the galaxy. The alien empire prepared its forces. Fleets of warships gathered near the border of human space, towering dreadnoughts, battleships covered in armor, fighters swarming like insects. The air commanders laughed at the idea of facing humans. "This will be sport," one reptilian general hissed. "We will crush them before the galaxy watches." Broadcasts spread across the stars, alien audiences cheered, betting on how quickly humans would fall. To them, it was entertainment. Back on Earth, silence reigned. Governments and leaders met in secret. Entire cities worked without sleep. Shipyards glowed through the night, building not ordinary warships but vessels carrying the forbidden technology, deep underground. Scientists whispered in fear as they prepared the final weapons. Equations twisted reality itself. Formulas scratched onto glass screens that should never have been possible. Humanity was about to unleash something the galaxy had never seen. The Admiral stood inside a vast hangar. Rows of new ships stretched before him. Their dark hulls reflected the dim lights. No alien had ever seen these designs. Each ship carried a weapon locked inside sealed chambers, weapons codenamed fracture cannons and void spears. "Admiral," a scientist approached nervously, "the weapons are unstable. They tear the laws of physics itself. Once fired, they cannot be controlled." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "That is exactly why they will never see it coming." Meanwhile, at the alien border, fleets began broadcasting threats, messages filled with mockery. "Humans, come forward. Let us see your toys break against real weapons." But when human fleets finally appeared, the galaxy went silent. Thousands of dark ships slid out of hyperspace, their formation tight, their hulls shining with strange energy. Alien generals laughed at the sight, but their laughter soon faded. The first battle was set. Billions watched through Council transmissions. The galaxy held its breath. Alien fleets advanced with confidence, their cannons charging, their shields glowing bright. Humans remained silent, their ships drifting as if asleep. No fire, no sound, only waiting. Then the Admiral gave the order, a single word: begin. A human ship fired the first fracture cannon. Space itself twisted. A beam invisible to the eye bent the path of time and gravity. Alien shields shattered as if they never existed. A dreadnought split apart, not from explosion, but from the universe folding around it. Panic erupted. Alien captains screamed across channels. "Impossible, impossible. Shields are useless. Armor is nothing." Human ships fired again, each shot bending space, tearing matter apart without flame. The alien fleets broke formation, fear spreading faster than command could control. The council chamber watched in horror. The same delegates who mocked humans now sat frozen. No laughter escaped their throats. They could not believe what they were seeing. The young human officer aboard the flagship whispered, "Admiral, the galaxy will never forgive us for this." The Admiral's face was stone. "They will not forgive, but they will respect." The battle raged. Alien ships fell like leaves in a storm. Entire squadrons erased in silence, not by fire, not by chaos, but by laws of physics rewritten by human hands. And as the alien fleets broke, retreating in desperation, the Admiral gave the final order: hold fire. Humanity had proven its power, but the galaxy had yet to learn its price. The galaxy burned with whispers after the first clash. In council worlds and alien colonies, one phrase echoed again and again: the humans bent physics. News streams showed alien dreadnoughts torn apart without flame, shields collapsing without warning, and massive warships splitting as if the void itself had eaten them. Species who once mocked humanity now spoke in hushed voices, fear spreading faster than light. Inside the alien high command, generals argued in rage and denial. "This is deception. No weapon can break the laws of physics," shouted one, slamming his clawed hand against the table. Another hissed, Back, we saw it with our own eyes. Their cannons made space itself twist. Meanwhile, aboard the Terran flagship, silence filled the command deck. Human officers stared at their screens. Even they struggled to believe what they had just unleashed. The young officer who once trembled before the council now whispered, "Admiral, we destroyed half their fleet in minutes, yet you ordered us to stop. Why?" The admiral's gaze was locked on the star map, his voice calm but heavy. "Because terror is more powerful than destruction. Let them live. Let them tell the story of what they faced." Beyond the battlefield, alien survivors limped back through hyperspace, their ships broken, their crews shaken. They carried not just defeat but horror, tales of human weapons that unmade reality. On one shattered battleship, an alien commander gripped the arms of his chair, his voice trembling as he sent a final message to his empire. "They are not primitive. They are not bound. Humanity is death with patience." The message spread like wildfire, fear gripping even the most arrogant empires, but the council refused to accept it. In the great chamber, delegates shouted over one another. Some demanded humanity's immediate extermination, others urged retreat and negotiation, yet none could hide the fear in their voices. "If humans can bend physics, then nothing can stop them," whispered a winged envoy, her feathers trembling. Back on Earth, in secret bunkers beneath mountains, scientists watched the footage of the battle. Some celebrated, but others looked pale. One whispered, "We have opened a door that should have stayed closed." The admiral knew the truth. These weapons were not only victory, they were danger, even to humanity itself. Every shot risked tearing holes in reality. Every fractured cannon carried a price unseen. Still, the galaxy had thrown its challenge, and Terrans had answered. Now, messages poured into Earth from frightened colonies, some begging for protection, others threatening war. Humanity stood at the edge of a new age, one where every race either feared them, hated them, or sought to bind them. Aboard the flagship, the admiral addressed his crew, his voice low but firm. "The galaxy thinks they have seen the full measure of Terran power. They are wrong. What they saw was only a glimpse." The crew listened, hearts pounding. They knew their admiral was right. Humanity had more weapons hidden, darker secrets buried deeper. Weapons that even their enemies could not imagine. The young officer leaned closer. "Admiral, what if the galaxy unites against us? Billions of ships, endless armies." The admiral's eyes narrowed, his words heavy with unshaken resolve. "Then they will learn the second truth, that Terrans do not fight for conquest. We fight for survival, and survival makes us unstoppable." As the stars outside glimmered cold and distant, a new storm gathered. The galaxy was no longer laughing. It was preparing, and so were the humans, for the first battle was only the beginning. The alien empires had never known fear like this. Across 1,000 worlds, commanders replayed the recordings of human weapons tearing through fleets. Some refused to believe, others could not sleep. Nightmares filled with ships bending and vanishing into nothing on the border of human space. The largest war council in galactic history was held. Generals, admirals, and rulers gathered, their voices filled with anger and shame. "We underestimated them," growled a reptilian warlord, his scales bristling. "This time, we bring everything, no mercy, no retreat." Armadas began to form, tens of thousands of ships, dreadnoughts heavier than mountains, carriers filled with swarms of fighters, weapons tested and sharpened. This was not a skirmish anymore. This war to erase humanity from existence. And yet deep inside the Terran command bunker, the admiral stood calm, his voice steady as he spoke to Earth's leaders. "They are gathering everything they have. They believe overwhelming force will crush us. But they still do not understand. Their numbers mean nothing against weapons that bend reality itself." The leaders asked him quietly, "Admiral, how far are we willing to go?" His eyes turned cold. "As far as survival demands." The fleets met in the void of an abandoned star system, the battlefield chosen for its emptiness, so the galaxy could watch without risk. Billions tuned in across council worlds, watching the moment humanity was supposed to fall. Alien fleets advanced in perfect formation, rows of warships stretching farther than sight, their weapons charged, their commanders filled with grim determination. This time there was no laughter, only cold silence. Human fleets appeared, fewer in number. their ships dark and silent, like shadows drifting through the void. The young officer aboard the flagship whispered, "Admiral, we are outnumbered 50-1. The admiral replied without hesitation. "Then every shot must count 50 times. The alien armada unleashed its fury first, beams of plasma, storms of missiles, gravity bombs tearing toward human ships. The void lit up in fire, but the Terran ships did not scatter. They moved with strange precision, their dark hulls shimmering with fields unknown to alien science. Then the order came. Fracture cannons, fire. Space twisted, entire alien squadrons vanished. Dreadnoughts broke apart without explosions. Their hulls bent like paper and folded into the void. Alien commanders screamed, their fleets crumbling before their eyes. But humans were not untouchable. Some ships shattered under the endless alien fire. Crews sacrificed themselves to hold the line. Every loss fueled the fury of their comrades. The admiral stood unshaken. Hold. Every meter of space must be paid for in their blood. A new weapon was unleashed, the Void Spear, a lance of pure distortion that pierced through 3 dreadnoughts in one strike. The galaxy gasped as warships worth empires were destroyed in seconds. Panic rippled through the alien fleets. Formations broke. Commanders shouted desperate orders. Regroup, shield the flagships. But it was too late. Terran weapons had shattered their front. In the council chamber, silence reigned. Leaders who once mocked humans now whispered in dread. If this continues, there will be no fleets left in the galaxy. Aboard the flagship, the young officer trembled. "Admiral, we are rewriting war itself." The admiral's voice was iron. "No, we are reminding them, survival makes humans more dangerous than any empire, and today the galaxy learns that truth." As the battle raged, stars themselves seemed to tremble, and the shattered front of the alien armada marked the beginning of a war. The galaxy could no longer control. The battle had ended. The alien armada broken and scattered, wreckage drifted through the void like dark tombstones. The galaxy had watched in horror. Their greatest fleets shattered by a species they once mocked. But the victory raised questions more dangerous than the battle itself. How could humans bend the very laws of the universe? What secret had they unlocked that no empire ever touched? In the council chamber, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted across the vast hall. "We must destroy them now," one cried. "No, we must force them to share their weapons," another screamed. Fear poisoned every voice. A voice rose above the noise, trembling but sharp. "If humans can bend physics, then everything we know is a lie." Silence fell, the truth no one wished to admit. Far away on Earth, deep under a mountain fortress, the admiral walked through a sealed corridor. The young officer followed at his side. The air was heavy with sigh. "Ekrits, Admiral," the officer asked quietly, "these weapons, where did they come from? No scientist could have built them alone." The admiral's expression hardened. He stopped before a great vault door, heavy with locks and glowing with security fields. "You are about to learn the truth." The door opened, revealing a chamber filled with machines unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Swirling cores of energy, devices that shimmered like broken mirrors of reality, equations carved onto walls, equations that should not exist. The officer's breath caught. This is not science. This is something else." The admiral nodded. "These are the results of the Fracture Project. Generations of hidden research. Experiments so dangerous the galaxy would have executed us for even attempting them." The officer stepped closer. "We bent physics itself." The admiral's voice was cold. "No, we found the cracks already there. The universe is not perfect. It has weaknesses, tears waiting to be pulled open. We only learned how to exploit them." The officer shivered. The truth was more terrifying than any weapon. Humanity had not created something new. They had discovered that reality itself was fragile. Outside the vault, alarms rang across Earth's command network, reports flooding in, alien fleets retreating, but others gathering again, this time larger, more desperate. The admiral turned to his officer. "The council will demand answers. They will beg, threaten, and bribe, but we will give them nothing. The moment they understand the secret, the galaxy itself will collapse." Meanwhile, in the alien High Council, whispers spread. Spies had brought fragments of data, hints of human research. Some believed humans had tapped into forbidden ancient knowledge. Others believed they had bargained with forces outside reality, fear mixed with obsession. If we gain this secret, we can rule forever, one delegate whispered, another answered, or we destroy ourselves trying. Aboard the flagship, the officer finally asked the question that haunted him. Admiral, what if these weapons consume us too? What if bending physics destroys humanity itself? The Admiral's eyes were like stone. That is the price of survival. Better to risk the void than bow to empires who mocked us. But deep in his heart, he knew the officer was right. Every shot carried a risk. The fractures could spread, tearing more than enemy fleets. They could tear space itself. And as he stared at the stars outside the viewport, he whispered a truth that no one else could hear. We are not just fighting the galaxy, we are fighting the universe itself. The secret was out, and it was only a matter of time before the galaxy demanded to know across the galaxy. Fear turned into desperation. Empires that had warred for centuries now set aside hatred to face a single enemy: humanity. Fleets once pointed at each other now joined together. Billions of soldiers sworn to one purpose: destroy Earth before the secret spread. The Council declared an emergency. Their words carried across every star system. If humanity is not stopped, no empire will survive. Their voices shook with fear, yet behind that fear was greed. Many sought not to erase the Terrans, but to steal their secret. Armadas gathered near the galactic core, more ships than had ever been seen in one place. A storm of steel, fire, and ambition. Leaders promised victory. They promised the humans would kneel at last. But inside the Terran War Council, silence filled the chamber. Maps glowed with enemy formations, lines of red stretching across the galaxy. The young officer whispered, "Admiral, they are uniting against us. Even enemies are fighting side by side." The Admiral's face was carved from stone, his voice steady. "Good, let them gather. The more they unite, the more they will learn their unity cannot break us." The officer hesitated. "But Admiral, even our fracture cannons cannot face such numbers forever." The Admiral turned, his eyes dark. "You are right, which is why we will not use them all. Humanity has one more card to play." The chamber grew still. Officers glanced at each other. They had heard rumors, whispers of a weapon darker than fracture cannons, something tested only once and locked away. The Admiral spoke. "The Singularity Core." The room fell silent. The officer's voice trembled. "That weapon is forbidden even by our own council. If released, it could collapse stars." The Admiral's gaze never wavered. "And if we do nothing, the galaxy will erase us. Better they fear the edge of destruction than see us bow." As fleets moved closer, humanity made a choice no empire expected. Instead of striking first, they broadcasted a single message across the galaxy. The Admiral's voice carried into every council chamber, every fleet command, every soldier's ear. "We do not seek conquest. We do not seek thrones. We fight only because you forced us. Turn back now, or see the universe itself rewritten against you." Aliens laughed nervously. Some called it bluff. Others felt their blood run cold, but no fleet retreated. The storm pressed on. The Terran fleets waited at the edge of human space, their ships silent shadows, fracture cannons primed, void spears locked. And deep within the flagship, the Singularity Core hummed, a sphere of black light held in chains of energy. The young officer stood beside the Admiral, his heart heavy. "Sir, if we use it, there may be no galaxy left to save." The Admiral's reply was calm. "Then let the galaxy understand the cost of pushing us too far." The moment arrived. The Galactic Armada crossed the line, weapons blazing, fire lit up the void like a second sun. Human ships shook under the storm, some shattered, crews sacrificing themselves to hold the line. Then the Admiral gave the order, "Unleash the core." The universe itself screamed. A sphere of darkness expanded, light bent around it, stars flickered. Alien fleets were pulled into its hunger. Ships crumbled as time and matter broke apart across the galaxy. Billions watched in horror as the impossible unfolded. The council chamber fell silent. No one could speak. No one could breathe. The Admiral's voice echoed one last time across the stars. "This is our restraint. Remember it well, because the next time you force our hand, there will be nothing left." The core dimmed. Humanity pulled it back before it consumed too much. The fleets withdrew, the galaxy shaken to its core. For the first time in history, the empires did not cheer victory or cry for revenge. They whispered in silence, afraid to even speak the name of humanity. The galaxy had seen the unthinkable, entire fleets swallowed by darkness, stars bent and broken by human hands. No empire had ever dared such power. No empire had ever survived such restraint. In the silence that followed, fear spread deeper than any weapon could reach. Rulers who once shouted for human surrender now spoke only in whispers. Soldiers who once mocked Terran rifles now woke from nightmares of black spheres eating the sky. And yet, something stranger happened. Planets that were once enemies sent messages not of war but of respect. Colonies begged for Terran patrols. Trade routes requested human escorts. The very races that mocked Earth now prayed for its protection. Aboard the Terran flagship, the young officer stood at the viewport, his voice heavy with awe. "Admiral, the galaxy no longer sees us as prey. They see us as something greater. But what are we now? Conquerors or guardians?" The Admiral's eyes narrowed as he watched the stars drift by. "We are survivors, and survival has made us more than conquerors, guardians if we must be, but never slaves again." Across Council, worlds debates raged. Some demanded humanity be banned from the stars, others insisted on treaties, but all carried one truth: no one dared attack again. In hidden chambers, alien leaders spoke of the Singularity Core, of fracture cannons, of void spears, but what haunted them most was not the weapons. It was the choice humanity made. They had shown restraint. They had pulled back when they could have ended it all. A reptilian envoy whispered to his rival, "If they wished, they could have destroyed us. Instead, they warned us. That is more terrifying than any weapon." The legend of Earth began to spread, not just as warriors, but as a people who bent the universe and still chose mercy. On Earth itself, the Admiral walked among his people. No throne, no crown, just the quiet respect of those who understood the burden he carried. Children pointed at him with wide eyes, whispering, "He is the man who made the galaxy silent." The young officer approached him again. "Sir, what if they come back? What if greed drives them to test us again?" The Admiral's reply was calm yet carried the weight of eternity. "Then we will remind them again, as many times as it takes, until the galaxy learns to respect, not mock." And so, Terran fleets became shadows in the stars, not conquerors, not rulers, but watchers, their dark ships patrolling silently, a reminder of the day laughter died. Generations later, aliens would still tell the story in hushed tones. Never mock a human weapon, for they carry the power to unmake the universe. And deep in the void, where silence ruled and stars whispered their cold songs, humanity stood unbroken, guardians of a secret the galaxy feared to even name, for this was the legacy of Earth, not chains, not thrones, but survival carved into the laws of reality itself. And as the Admiral looked out one last time, he whispered words that carried into history. "We bent the universe because they forced us, but we endure because we chose mercy." The galaxy would never forget.